Hey, what's up guys? This is Josh here at Porter Valley Ranch. Today we are not at Porter Valley Ranch. We are actually in my office at the business that Rachel and I own. We're here because this is where we're going to start our garden this year. As most of you know, gardening season is just around the corner. For the last couple of years, we've tried to increase our gardening knowledge, and we've increased the size of our garden a little bit each year. But for the most part, we've kept it pretty small on a hobby scale. So we've been able to just go down to our local big box stores or our local nurseries and get our plants. So we've been growing starts. They already started them. They were in a little pot. We took them out of that, put them in our garden exactly where we wanted them to be. But this year we are really trying to step up our game. We're moving from a small garden to about 1/8 of an acre. So we're going to need significantly more plants, and we also want to plant a larger variety. So what we're doing for the first time is we are going to start our seeds indoors. Now, if you guys are like us, every time you walk by the newsstand, you see some of these magazines hanging out around there, and everybody wants to tell you, what to plant and how to plant it, and there's a lot of good information in these, so you should definitely check them out. But the most important one you're gonna want is one that looks like this. We've got one from Johnny's and we've got one from Baker Creek. We selected most of our seeds from Baker Creek because we love who they are, we love what they stand for. When you go through the Baker Creek, there are some plants that everybody plants. Everybody does, cucumbers and tomatoes and things like that, but there are also some flowers. There are some crazy vegetables that you have definitely never even heard of and never seen. It's a purple sunflower. What is that about? Check this out. We've got like some awesome rainbow chard. I don't know what chard is, but I want it. Some red okra. That sounds amazing. Look at these things. Those are massive. And the most interesting thing in this book to me is this here. It is a ping tung eggplant. Looks pretty crazy. I think we'll try it out. So whatever you decide to plant, now is about the time that you need to start paying attention to the back of those seed packets or reading the instructions on the manufacturer's packaging so that you know when to start these seeds. A lot of them are 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. So for us, that is right now. We are right in the middle of planting season. So we are going to start our seeds indoors with some grow lights. We are going to hope that the conditions are right for them so that whenever the time comes to plant them outside, they have got a good start and they are ready to go in the ground. So Rachel's going to walk you through that process of what we're doing this year with our indoor seed starting project.
We are in the room, the germination room is what we're going to start calling this. And the reason we've decided to start indoor seeds this year is just the amount of time it gets you ahead. So if you get your seedlings to transplant size, you're basically a month ahead of the game. Also, seed packets might have like 200 seeds in them for $3, or you can buy one seed that has become a transplant for $3, and you're gonna save a ton of money if you do it this way. So last year we were kind of behind the garden game. We spent a lot more on transplants. Everything that we bought and put in the garden was about $3 a seed. Now we went ahead and we're going to spend way less this year, and we're gonna be able to save them and do it again next year. So seed starting is a very smart way to do things. Also, we like the option of this being a very controlled environment. When I tried in my fall garden to start some more lettuces, I had a knack for doing it right before a rainstorm, so it was like they would get going and they're supposed to sprout in 7 to 10 days, and maybe like day 4 or 5, a huge storm would come and wash out my seeds. So this is a way that you can guarantee that you're not going to have any environmental concerns like the wind, like the rain, like hail, all the crazy things that we have in Oklahoma. So that's my reason for doing indoor seeds.
So I have started my garden by seeds for several years now. I think this is my 4th year to start them by seeds. And previously I have just kept them in these little trays, the biodegradable seed pods, kind of like these, that you put your dirt in, you start your seeds, and then I keep them on cookie trays, and I would transplant or transport them from my kitchen table where they got some natural light from the back window to the patio. And then 2 years ago we got a lab puppy. And I had started a whole garden full of seeds, and I was taking them in and out, in and out. We let the puppy out one day, good old Tank, and he tore everything up. He wrecked my watermelon, my tomatoes, everything that was in those starter pods that I had been babying for almost 2 months at that point. And then my whole garden was ruined because it was too late to start anything over. I had to go to Lowe's and buy seeds, which I really don't prefer to do. Or I had to buy the started plants, which I really prefer to just start by seeds for a multitude of reasons. So that is why I am going to join the Porters in doing this fun indoor adventure. And hopefully all of our seeds make it to transplant stage.
Okay, so now we're at the stage where we are actually putting the seeds into trays. So some of the seeds that we got, well, some of the trays that we got, we're just looking for 3 components. We want something with the cells, we want a bottom tray so it will contain the dirt a little bit, and then we're going with the humidity dome. We're not completely confident in our choices here, but we've decided we're going to humidity dome it until it sprouts, and then try to avoid the risk of mold growing on the sprouts. So at that point, we're going to take the humidity domes off. So these are the lights that John installed. We can talk through that in just a second, but we've got 2 per row. So we're going to layer the rows and be completely in control of how much light it gets, because this room has no windows, there's no natural light that comes in, so we can be totally in charge of what amount of light we want, what kind of light, and how long we want it on. Okay, so we're starting with the organic seed starter kit. Another reason we choose to go with Baker is because we're always looking for seeds that are non-GMO, which is non-genetically modified. So we know they're as pure as can be, and they don't have any weird ingredients because they weren't made in a lab, they were made in the earth. With the calendula seeds, they're actually a decent sized seed, but we're gonna go ahead and do 2 seeds per tray, just in case one of them does not germinate. It gives it a chance, and we like to say survival of the fittest. Whichever one's gonna pop up is gonna be a pretty good seed. So I'm just sticking these in because they're one that you're supposed to only plant at a 1/4 inch into this soil, so that's barely anything. So you can kind of just stick those in. Some of them are gonna need 1 inch, some are gonna need a 1/2 inch. When that happens, you're best just to pour the dirt on top. But with this being only 1/4, you really just need to push in, cover up, because it's barely anything.
Once you've got your seeds planted, you are going to spritz them until they have sprouted, because we don't want to wash them out or drown them. So you're gonna take a little spray bottle and just lightly spritz the dirt on top until they're moist. Don't get them too wet. We don't want to drown them.
All right, so we've spent a few hours and our back hurts, and we planted 500 starts, and we feel like this is a little disappointing. Like, it should definitely be more than that. But we know they're gonna grow, and we know like in a week when we start seeing sprouts that we'll see a lot. So these are each holding 72 cells, so that is a lot. We also have these. I was able to get these are recycled from a local nursery. So we have planted in those. They're not quite fitting that bottom tray. So when the water goes in, they're not sucking it back up. We're gonna have to get some more flat bottom trays. But here's where we landed today. The humidity domes are staying on until they sprout. And another hack that we've learned about is these are not gonna need a humidity dome. You can just put Saran wrap over them. So that's gonna help them retain that humidity.
So we've organized our rows of plants in the order that we plan to transplant them into our garden. So on this top row here, we have the things we're gonna transplant first. Things like our herbs, cabbages, lettuces, those hardier vegetables that are gonna be a little more sturdy throughout the winter and early spring months. Then here in the middle, we have things like our cucumbers, flowers that we're going to transplant, things like marigolds to protect our tomatoes. And let's see what's in this one. Oh, peppers. So we've got all of our bell peppers, hot peppers, stuff like that. And then down here on our bottom row, we've got our tomatoes and zucchinis and loofahs, and that will go in our garden last. We also plan on bringing in a fan to kind of blow on these tomatoes once they've sprouted, to harden those stems and make sure that they are ready to go out into the garden.
We are actually in our business building that Josh and I own. We have a dance and gymnastics studio, and this is a bathroom because we lived here the first 5 years of the business. And so this was something that at one point was our bathroom. It connected our master bedroom and our closet, and now it has turned into the boys' game room while they're up at the studio and Josh's office. And we had these shelves because we've been storing stuff for all of our costumes and summer camps and everything in here. So all of the plywood was already repurposed and used, and it made it really easy to just use some 2x4s and put the lights on. And so we're excited about that transition. We also know this room's fairly controllable. There's no there's no outside light, so we can turn off all the artificial light. We can use these for 12 hours a day, and we're gonna do that with a smart plug, so you should be able to control that from your phone, so we're not coming up here at 7:30 every morning. But we have a lot of plans for how we can get the mileage out of this and get at least 2 months ahead of our garden.